So now we're going to look at welding and obviously grooving out the joint to receive the weld. Traditionally in the industry, these were the two types of tools that we used, and they're still available in regards to trying to cut your shaped groove out to receive the weld rod. This is one that comes part of the welding kit, which we'll look after, and it's got the little bar on the bottom that's designed to try and keep you on track. And that's the downside with these things sometimes. It's very, very difficult to keep on track. A lot of people run down a straight edge and it might slip, or try and come over the straight edge, and then the groove's not absolutely perfect. And the other thing with these is, as you're grooving, you're supposed to be cutting both edges of the material, not just one edge, which I see people do. It's quite common. And as you say, the same with these. It's about trying to follow it. Obviously, if you're doing cap and cove work, taking up the walls, then these will be the tools that you use for that. But whenever you've got a flat floor, there is easier or better equipment to use to guarantee you get the right shape groove, the right depth, and you're cutting both bits of the material. So I'm going to ask my colleague to come in and just show us this product, this machine. Traditionally we used to have these type of machines which were corded. The issue with the cord, obviously, if it's a big room, big large area, it's making sure as you're trying to run up your seam, the cord doesn't get caught, catch, snag, or whatever. So what we're going to look at now, if you want to just go through that, Steve. Sure. So what we've got is the Wolff Mastergroover. These type of the biggest complaint in sheet vinyl is poor welding. Now that all stems from this stage, so the jointing and the grooving is important to get a good weld seam. The only efficient way of doing it accurately is by using one of these machines. It has an automatic depth control, so even if the substrate is slightly uneven, then you will get the exact same U-shaped cut out of your vinyl consistently right down the length of the vinyl. So if you've got any humps or little troughs in your floor, which, you know, depending on how the subfloor prep's been done, this machine will follow any undulations in the subfloor. It's really easy to use. You've got your seam done, you've got your perfect joint done, either with the rail cut or the lino cut, and as you can see, the wheels have these slight protrusions on them, and they sit in the groove or the joint, and then you literally can't come out of that line, so you know that you're cutting both sides of the sheet vinyl, as Steve alluded to before. Now, when you get a weld rod, you'll have on your weld there'll be all types of information on there and depth of cut. Now that can be adjusted by using this wheel, so that will adjust the depth of cut that the blade cuts onto your material. So you know, not all materials are the same depth. You could be using 2.5 mil, and you can go to 4 mil vinyl. Yeah. So each depth will have a certain depth of cut that the manufacturer will recommend. You can't really do that efficiently or effectively with hand tools. And I think that's a good point, and certainly sports flooring got quite a foam rubber backed, and again you don't want to go too far through, so it's again the ideal adjusting that, and it's very difficult to do, trying to do it by hand. But if not, I'd go almost virtually impossible. Sure. And when, I mean, we've all done it where your weld rod's popping out here and there, and it's simply down to the fact that you've gone overboard with the groove with your hand tool. Okay, so it's really simple to use. Once you've set up the depth, as you've read on your weld rod.
Does all this come in the kit?
All this comes in the kit, the bag, 2 batteries and a charger, and of course the actual instrument itself. So it's always, whenever you're using these type of tools, even the hand tools and a
as such. It's always handy to do some trial areas first. Just get a scrap of vinyl and just run down, make sure the depth's right and you're happy with it, and then you can go ahead and do your, because once if you start off and you haven't set the depth right, you set it too far, then the material's stuck in place, you can't really replace it. So yeah, always do some trial areas first. Okay, so we've got full charge on the battery. So to start the tool, push the side button in, click on. Obviously you can't go right up to the wall, you are going to have to do your edges with the hand tool, but it's literally 4 or 5 inches either end. So as you can see, we've got a perfect depth cut for our weld to accept the weld rod, and we can be sure that the weld rod isn't going to be popping out and having to do some repairs, which never go in well really. Okay, so now we've used the Wolff Mastergroover machine to groove out the joint. The joint's now ready to receive the PVC weld rod into there. So what do we use to do that? Well, we've got this lovely little kit from Wolff, the hot air and welding gun. Okay, they say it comes with everything you need to do the job. So if we just go through it in there, we've got a sledge, which we'll show you what that's for after. Lovely little sharpening tool for sharpening your spatula. And in the next layer down, we do have the spatula. I can get it out. We have the groover, like we showed you before. We have the nozzle for the gun. We have the speed weld nozzle. It also comes with a little wire brush to keep your nozzle clean, and the welder, the hot air gun itself. So today this one's a 110 version, but they do it in a 240 as well. Okay, so I'm just going to assemble the machine. So just get the gun, put the nozzle on, and make sure the nozzle's secured and no escaping of air. Just tighten that up. I like it in a certain position, match where the lead comes out. That's okay. Make sure it's on and just tighten it up. It's as easy as that. Okay, try that screwdriver, it might be better. There we go, it's on. So that's that, and now we attach the speed weld nozzle. Again, you can adjust the position to suit what you need, and because we've got the little wire brush, every time before we use it, just give it a quick clean on whatever. So that's that. So we've got that, and then switch it on. Now it is going to be noisy when I switch it on. We just plug it in. And then if you look at the machine, we've got an on-off switch at the back, and the red button we can set to our heat level that we require. So I'm going to start off at about 4.5 to 5 to warm it up, and then we'll see what temperature. We get asked a lot, what temperature should we be running the welders at? With some of these sites, site conditions, each machine, they vary slightly. If you've got a long extension lead on a job, then you get what we call power drop. So by the time the power gets here, you might be getting a little bit of power drop, so you need to turn it up a little bit more. So it varies from job to job, site to site, but usually around about 4.5. We just let that warm up. Very easy and very simple. And as you said, we've got our spatula, and we've also got our sledge. So it's a lovely little kit, handy to have. There are other welders on the market, or lots of welders out there. And the problem with some of the welders is, you know, over a long period of time, they do tend to have issues with the elements maybe need replacing and so on. These are really robust, the elements will last a long time, but it will enable you, if the element does go, just undo them 4 screws, pop the front off, and you can insert a new element, and it takes minutes. Okay, and they are available. So now the machine's warmed up, ready to go. Just going to check my nozzles where I want it to be. And the reason they're called speed weld nozzles is obviously very easy and very simple, is that slides in there. Before we had these nozzles years and years ago, what we used to have was this tool here. And a lot of people, when they look at these in the toolkits, they're not quite sure what they are. Some people think they're for rolling the weld after or stuff like that. And what you used to do with these, slide that through there. Hopefully it's going to come out the other side. That goes around there like that. You wouldn't have the speed weld attachment, you would just have the pipe, and you'd be pointing the pipe. So you'd have that set like that, and you'd be pointing the pipe in there and just running it down. Bit of a pain in there, yeah. So with this one, very easy, very simple. I'll just slide that in there, do a little warm, and then off we go. That temperature is just perfect. As I'm welding now, I can see it's just getting a little bit of a burr on either side, so I know I'm running at a good speed with my hand, and the temperature is just right. Keeping the nozzle horizontal with the floor, not going too fast and not going too slow. So we've got a perfect groove, so it's welding both sides of the material. Now when you finish using the machine, again, back to the dial on the bottom and turn it to 0. Don't be tempted to switch it straight off, because that will affect the life of the element. We'll blow cold air through it now for a couple of 3 minutes, and hopefully then it's cooled the element down, and then I'll switch it off. So what we'll do now, we get our sledge and our spatula. That just fits in there, and all I'm going to do is cut off the top layer. I'm not going all the way through it, and basically cut it in half. Okay, so now, once we've cut that off for his first run with the sledge, we let that cool right down. If you cut it off too soon, the weld will dish. Okay, we just let that cool right down, and that'll give us a perfect flat weld. Well, thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out all our other videos on Floormart's YouTube channel, and don't forget to drop a like, comment and subscribe.